It usually happens in the quietest moments.
You're sitting on the couch, maybe scrolling through your phone, maybe lost in your own thoughts.
The room is still.
The world outside barely exists.
And then, you feel it. A presence. You look up. And there they are. Your dog. Sitting. Still. Silent. Just staring at you. Not barking. Not wagging. Not moving. Just watching.
Their eyes fixed on yours, as if they're trying to say something, but without making a sound.
And for a brief second, it feels almost human. Almost like they know something you don't.
Most dog owners brush this moment off.
They assume it's simple. Maybe the dog is hungry. Maybe they want to go outside. Maybe they're just waiting for attention. And sometimes, that's true.
But behavioral science tells a very different story. Because when a dog stares at you in silence, it's rarely random.
It's communication. Not loud. Not obvious. But deeply intentional. To understand this behavior, we have to step into the mind of a dog. Not as a pet,
but as a social, emotionally intelligent species shaped by thousands of years of living alongside humans.
Dogs don't use language the way we do.
They don't explain their needs with words.
Instead, they rely on subtle signals. Body posture. Eye contact. Stillness. And among all of these, staring is one of the most powerful.
In the animal world, direct eye contact can mean many things. In wolves, for example, prolonged staring can signal dominance or a challenge.
It can escalate tension. It can start conflict. But dogs are not wolves anymore.
At least, not in the way they relate to us.
Through domestication, something extraordinary happened. Dogs evolved to use eye contact, not as a threat, but as a bridge. A connection. A silent language between species.
When your dog stares at you, they're not just looking.
They're reading your face, your mood, your energy. They're scanning for emotional cues. Studies in animal cognition have shown that dogs are remarkably skilled at interpreting human facial expressions. They can distinguish between happiness and anger, calm and stress, even subtle shifts in attention. And when they stare, they're gathering information. But it goes deeper than observation. Because in many cases, that silent stare is not just about understanding you. It's about reaching you. Researchers studying human-dog interaction discovered something fascinating. When dogs and humans engage in mutual eye contact, both experience a rise in oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. The same hormone that strengthens the connection between a mother and her child. This means that when your dog stares into your eyes, and you look back, you're not just sharing a moment. You're reinforcing a biological bond. A feedback loop of trust and attachment. It's not just emotional. It's chemical. Your dog feels closer to you because of it. And so do you. This changes how we interpret that silent gaze. Because sometimes, your dog isn't asking for anything at all. They're just connecting. Staying close to you, even without moving. Even without sound. There's also the role of attachment psychology. Dogs form attachment bonds with their owners that closely resemble those of human infants with caregivers. They look to you for safety, for guidance, for reassurance. And just like a child might look at a parent in an unfamiliar situation, your dog uses eye contact to check in. To ask, without words, "Are we okay? Is everything safe? Are you still there?" That silent stare can be a form of emotional regulation. Your dog anchoring themselves to you. Especially in moments of uncertainty. But not all stares are the same. Sometimes, the stillness carries a different message. A more subtle one. Dogs are also masters of learning patterns. They observe routines. They remember outcomes.
If staring at you in the past led to food, a walk, or attention, they may repeat the behavior.
Not out of manipulation, but out of learned association. To them, it works. So they try again. And again. But even then, it's not just about the reward. It's about communication. A quiet request. A polite signal. Unlike barking or pawing, staring is low intensity. It's patient. Almost respectful. As if they're waiting for you to notice. There's also an evolutionary layer to this behavior. Dogs have lived alongside humans for over 15,000 years. During that time, they didn't just adapt physically. They adapted socially. They became attuned to human behavior in ways no other species has. Early dogs that were better at reading human cues, better at forming bonds, better at communicating without conflict, were more likely to survive, to be fed, to be kept close. Over generations, this shaped the dogs we know today. Animals that don't just coexist with humans, but understand them in a way that feels almost intuitive. And eye contact became one of their most powerful tools. Not aggressive, not confrontational, but cooperative. A shared signal, a silent agreement between species. There's also a neurological component worth understanding. When your dog stares at you calmly, without tension, their nervous system is often in a regulated state. They feel safe, secure, connected. Their body is not preparing for action. It's resting in presence. And in that moment, they're inviting you into that same calm state. But when the nature of the stare changes, when it becomes rigid, intense, or paired with other signals like a stiff body or lowered ears, that's when the meaning shifts. Because staring can also be a sign of stress, or uncertainty, or even discomfort. The difference lies in context, in subtle details, the softness of the eyes, the position of the body, the environment around them. This is where awareness becomes important. Because your dog is always communicating, even in silence. Especially in silence. One of the most overlooked aspects of this behavior is timing. When does your dog stare at you? Is it when you're about to leave? When you're distracted? When you're feeling emotional? Dogs are incredibly sensitive to human states. They can detect changes in your voice, your posture, even your scent. And sometimes, that stare is their response to you. Not the other way around. They may be sensing your stress, your sadness, your tension. And instead of reacting loudly, they simply stay. Watch. Wait. As if offering presence. As if saying, I'm here. There have been documented cases of dogs responding to human emotional distress with increased eye contact and proximity. Not trained behavior. Not conditioned. But instinctive. A form of empathy that science is still trying to fully understand. This brings us to a deeper realization. That silent stare. It's not empty. It's full. Full of intention. Full of awareness. Full of connection. It's your dog reaching across a gap that words cannot cross. And meeting you there. But this is also why changes in this behavior matter. If your dog suddenly stops making eye contact, if they avoid looking at you, or if their stare becomes unusually intense or frequent, it can signal something deeper. A shift in their emotional state, or even their physical health. Dogs often hide discomfort. They don't always show pain in obvious ways. But their behavior changes. Subtly. Gradually. And one of the earliest signs can be in how they interact with you. How they look at you. Or don't. A dog that once sought connection through eye contact but suddenly withdraws. May be feeling unwell. Anxious. Or disconnected.
On the other hand, a dog that begins staring excessively, especially with tension, may be trying to communicate stress or a need that isn't being met. This is why observation matters. Not just seeing your dog, but understanding them, noticing patterns, changes, context. Because communication is not just about signals, it's about interpretation. And your dog is always speaking, even when they're silent. So the next time your dog stares at you, pause. Don't look away immediately. Meet their gaze. Stay in that moment. Because what's happening there is something ancient, something biological, something deeply emotional. Two species, separated by language, connected by presence, by trust, by thousands of years of shared history. And in that quiet exchange, there's no need for words. Just understanding. Just connection. Just being together. And maybe that's what your dog has been trying to tell you all along. If you've ever experienced this silent moment with your dog, share it in the comments. What do you think they were trying to say? And if you want to understand more about the hidden psychology behind your dog's behavior, make sure to subscribe and watch the next video.